The second semi-final of Eurovision 2015 took place on Thursday, May 21st, and after the grand final, the EBU finally revealed the results, which we can look at now. In first place was Sweden's Mans Zelmerlow, followed by Latvia's Aminata Savadogo, and then rounding out the top 10, we had Israel, Norway, Slovenia, Cyprus, Lithuania, Poland, Montenegro, and Azerbaijan. Angus, what did you think of the overall result?
I think I was surprised Cyprus made it. That was a big shock. John Karayanis making it through overall. Other than that, there was nothing that surprising. Montenegro, I was kind of surprised got through, purely because I didn't think it was that remarkable a performance. But clearly, Zelko Joksimovic still has some gas left in the tank.
And for me, I mean, Latvia's Aminata Savadogo, like, I've been hyping this for months and I wanted it to do well, but to see that it actually did get second, I'm over the moon for her. She came second with the jury, she came third with the televoters. I thought this song was gonna maybe appeal to the jury but not appeal to the public, but boy was I wrong. I think the staging really elevated this. I mean, she had a fantastic voice, but I think the concerns about the song being too avant-garde or too arty were kind of put aside when you saw that amazing staging. It really silenced people in the arena. Eurovision is a camp event, everyone's drunk, everybody's in the audience going crazy, but they all stood up and paid attention when Miss Aminata Savadogo sang. The other takeaway for me is Israel. We talk a lot about, there's so much anti-Semitism, Israel will never get through to the final, but they came third in the semi-final, and it just goes to show if you have a good song and good staging, Israel can do just as well, as the Israel of Dana International's days. Like, they could win again with the right staging and song. I'm just really thrilled for them. They were really excited. They beat Norway, because there was so much hype about Norway as well. But you know what? I think it just fell a bit flat in the semi and in the final. It didn't translate that well from Melody Grand Prix. Yeah, those are my initial takeaways.
I think the biggest shock for me is that Poland placed fourth in televoting. I mean, that, absolutely floored me, because we talked a lot about this being the year of screaming women, and semi-finals, you got most of those. But the fact that she did that well by that huge margin, because, I mean, Donna Cleo did amazingly in television last year, and clearly this did well again. But on stage, I don't know, Monika just, vocally has always been quite dodgy for me. I don't know if it's because she has to sing sitting or for whatever reason, but I always find it quite strange. But I think the sympathy came across really strongly, and that really amplified a kind of not bad song, but, quite a plain song, and gave it a much bigger, I guess, emotional pulling power than it would have had otherwise.
It's definitely bland. I mean, I think it's just bland. There's no way to soft package this. I find it quite dull. But the way they staged it was very effective, and it hinted at her personal tragedies, history, her perseverance, without beating you over the head with it. I think it was very tasteful. For instance, wiwiblogger David stood up at the press conference and he was crying. He's a 60-year-old American male. So you wouldn't necessarily expect him to be the one in tears. But this song, the staging, it really worked. And we have to remember, Poland has a huge diaspora as well. I think there are more than 2 million Poles living abroad. And clearly they were voting in numbers. To me, the diaspora explains why the televote is so much higher than the jury vote. I feel like objectively and critically, the song is a bit bland, but the diaspora helps. And also maybe viewers at home, the heartstrings, the tug, it was brilliant staging. I cannot fault the staging. But looking at the split, we see Sweden won both the televote and the jury. But there are some acts that would have made it through if it were just the jury voting as opposed to the public. And those acts are Malta, who came 5th with the jury, Ireland, who came 7th, and those are the two. Now, Angus, why do you think the public wasn't feeling Malta and Ireland?
I think Ireland particularly was let down because it performed so early. Molly as well, I think being young, did not connect with the camera particularly well, but also her diction, surprisingly, was quite bad. It was kind of hard to tell what she was singing at some points. I was watching it with friends, I know it because I've been listening to the song since it were the Late Late Show selection, so I was kind of humming along, and they were just what's she saying? Is she singing in English? Who is this? Which is really unfortunate, but it just, and I think also it's quite a downer, depressing song, it's just kind of mumbling for 3 minutes, quite sweet, quite moving staging, and also she was hidden behind that fucking great piano, which I think was a huge error in staging. It was way too cluttered. just confused, I think.
I loved Ireland, and everyone on our team thought I was crazy. I was like, this is going to qualify. This is amazing. This is tasteful. Because I really loved the, like, forest background. I thought they made her... I don't know, her vulnerability worked for me. The fact that she was nervous, like, enhanced the song. Yeah, but clearly Europe wasn't feeling it. I think you're right that it comes down to her going so early, because a song like that needs to go later to stand out and to be memorable. Now, in terms of Malta, I'm going to tell you why I think this didn't do well with the public. Some people praise the simplicity of the staging, but actually that LED was incredibly busy, and it didn't necessarily seem relevant. It didn't enhance the song. Like, yeah, she's a warrior, she's fighting, so she's got, like, I don't know, conchita wings and a bunch of thunder and lightning. It just didn't... I didn't feel the story. I thought she looked great. I thought her dress was great. I thought she sounded fantastic vocally. She was really good. And I loved the song, but I just felt like the staging let this one down. And that's not Malta's fault. It's ORF's fault.
See, I just disagree. I almost thought the staging was better because it was one of the LEDs that actually interpreted, like, the course of the song. Like, a few of them, like, Black Smoke did it here as well, like, in line with the music. So, like, there was a bit where it, like, builds before she goes into the great big, like, break, like that bit where, like, the light all focused into one ball behind her and then, like, pulsed out as she did it. And I thought that was really effective. Like, I was almost more surprised Poland made it through over Malta, because I would have thought between the two of them, Malta would have been the surefire qualifier.
I don't know. I mean, it was color changing and there were some squiggles, but beyond that, I just thought the staging looked like a hot mess. A hot mess. But I love Amber, and it's really disappointing to me. Like, her staging at the Malta Eurovision Song Contest, I thought was more appropriate. Like, the black smoke, it had the mystery, whereas this was like, at times it was like the flames from hell. It was too fiery for me. It put me off. But I did love her little Helena Paparizou moment at the end. I hope she comes back. I think that she's got a great voice. She could slay.
Yeah. I think the sad thing for Czech Republic is if we were only on a televoting system, they would have qualified. And unfortunately locked out on the base of the juries, which is so sad for them, because I think Marshall Barclay was so nice. But just Lamwood with the wrong kind of song, because I think if they're both rockers, I don't get why they were singing a West End duet together.
Yeah, I kind of... the song, something about it felt empty, the staging. Like, they just had black panels opening and closing like this, and, like, she throws her shoes off at one point. But that's not exciting enough, especially when you have beautiful voices like they do. Like, the song itself I thought was quite good. It's just the staging, again, just really let it down, which is a shame. And, I think with televoters in particular, you need good staging. I mean, yeah. It's a TV program at the end of the day. Now, Angus, we got to talk about the pink elephant in the room, Switzerland's Melanie Renee. She came dead last with only 4 points. This blows my mind, because I wasn't a huge fan of the song before Eurovision, but when I saw the staging and the rehearsals, I was like, yes, Switzerland is bringing its A game. She looked amazing. The forest she had was mystical. It was magical. The drummers, they were fantastic, like bat women doing their thing, taking flight. Bam, 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 bam. I really liked this. I thought the staging was appropriate and made this more interesting. Clearly, Europe did not.
And vocally on the night, she came across the best I've ever heard her. I mean, she hit every note, she was on fire, she did all the ad-libs. I think the thing that killed her was going after Mans from Sweden, because I think that was such, like... The whole semi-final basically built towards Sweden in that last point. So, like, my perspective, like, up until Mans, he, like, wiped everything out before him. And I think afterwards, you really needed one song to recover, which is, I think, why Cyprus got through, because I think they offered, like, kind of the aperitif to cleanse your palate after Sweden. And I think Melanie just sadly really got forgotten to, like, a dire extent. I mean, 6 points says everything. Like, nobody remembered her after Sweden.
I can't believe it. Iceland, another song we rated quite highly prior to Eurovision. The night she was off, on the night, it just did not come off well. Her voice, she's got a fantastic voice, but I don't know if it was something technical or what, but the whole thing just sounded off.
She felt out of key and breathy. Like, as soon as I saw that, I knew she wasn't going through, and I have been, like, the biggest fan of that song. So, like, I mean, you read my review, I was convinced this was, like, another Icelandic runner-up. This was, like, another Johanna. I was like, they're going to get, like, 200-plus points. And I think had she vocally nailed it on the night, she would have soared through easily. But she just didn't on the night. It fell apart. I think vocally she was off, but she was also just breathy. I don't know if it was, like, the choreography or whatever, but it felt flat.
It really did, and it's a shame. Afterwards, she was quite angry. She didn't come to the press center. She, went back to her hotel, and Hera Bjork and her backing vocalist came in her place, and, they were very philosophical. They told us, stuff happens. This is Eurovision. You can never know what's going to happen. But then later she went on Facebook, Maria Olofs, and she said that she sang her ass off. And you know what? She may have sang her ass off, but people don't want to see your ass on stage. I felt really, really bad for her. But yeah, better luck next time. She's got, yeah.
But I think, the big story is, of course, Mans, because he broke the record Reebok set in 2009. He got 217 points in the combined system, and I think so deserved. Like, such a consummate professional performer, such a strong track. And yeah, I mean, I've been the biggest fan of that song on wiwibloggs since he won Melfest. And yeah, I'm so glad. Like, there was no question he was going to win that semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, well, Aminata Savadogo was my favorite in the semi-final. I think her song has.
She was never going to win, though.
No, I agree. But she wrote her song. She sang her song. He just sang his song. You know what I mean? Like, I just respect her as an artist, as a creator. I don't know. Sweden, I'm just kind of tired of Sweden always winning.
I feel like this is like a really bad atmosphere because everyone's main critique at the moment is the fact that Sweden are hosting and they're winning. And I really don't see the point of penalising countries for doing well, because when we have countries that sue, like Latvia, previously to Aminata, we were always just like, oh, what a load of shit. They never put any effort in. They just sound like shitty acts. Whereas, like, if a country's doing well, I don't see a reason to tear them down, especially when they're clearly so good at it.
We're not tearing them down. My issue is that song is not one I would listen to, like, on repeat. I mean, it may be because we've heard it so many times, because Melody Festival is the biggest show, and so Eurovision fans will have heard those songs the most, perhaps. They've had a lot of time to. But something about it, I was with I was with televoters. This would not have been my number one. In the overall show, this would not have been my number one. But in any event, congratulations to him. He's a very nice guy, and it's a very good song, and it is a respectful winner. Like, it deserved to be at or near the top, and it made it. So there you go. All right. Anything else in this semifinal? Oh yes, John Karianis. He managed to place 8th with both televoters and the jury. I don't know how the hell that happened, y'all. This song, it still doesn't speak to me.
I'm just thinking it's the contrast to Sweden. I think Switzerland was forgotten, and then suddenly it was, oh, what a nice, like, guitar-driven change of pace. I mean, I think Despina in 2015 for Cyprus kind of sold it. It's that nice, like, Greek Mediterranean twangy style ballad. And I think if he'd been singing in Greek, like, no way this would have died and been left to rot in the semis. But English, I think, made it more accessible. And also, like, people like this whole, like, sad porn thing going on where it's just like, oh, my life was terrible. You made me think that I was really the one, but that's one thing I should have done. And just, like, leaving everyone sobbing for all the wrong reasons. I think that just resonated with people, clearly.
And you know what really surprises me in this semi is that Azerbaijan, scrapes in 10th position, but also that televoters only ranked it 11th, because we always talk about the diaspora strength of, Azerbaijan getting Turkish votes, but it clearly isn't as strong as it used to be, or it wasn't present in this semi. Like, 11th, it's really surprising to me.
I'm not surprised at all. I called this way before it happened because Hour of the Wolf is just too dull of a song. Like, and I think on stage it did not translate the studio level. No, well, clearly it did.
On stage. No, I'm talking about the reasoning. The song is not dull, but the staging did not enhance it. I think the staging actually detracted from it. There was too much going on. It was too busy. Like, I think Elner should have just stood there and sung his song and pulled a Malta Amber Malta, let his voice do the work, because he has a fantastic voice. But those wolves, dancers, naked people, I don't know what was going on. It just...
I'm saying, like, Azerbaijan of old, like, I think maybe pre-2013, there was something about those songs that, like, they stood out, not just, like, the staging just enhanced already, like, incredibly good pop songs, whereas I think recently, like, Dilara and Elnor as well, I think poor staging, and the songs themselves have just not been as good as they used to be. Like, there's kind of almost like an attempt to be too artistic, where previously they just have Sephora, like, running along the catwalk and screaming.
Fantastic.
And, like, the camp of that was incredible. Whereas, like, Elnor and Dilara, it's too, like, conscious of being high quality, rather than, like... Because obviously the old Azerbaijan songs were high quality, it was just kind of like, there was a theatricality to them that these songs lack. And I think that's the real detriment. I think that's what Azerbaijan needs to change to do well.
Populism. They need to be more populist. Look at Israel this year. That song is crafted for Eurovision, and it comes second with televoters and fourth with the jury. I mean, I think Azerbaijan should go down that route. As you were saying back in the day, the Safuras, that drip drop. Oh, yes, it's still drip drop where I am. I love it. In any event, that's what we think. What do you think? Let us know what you think of the semi-final 2 results from Eurovision 2015 on our YouTube channel at wiwibloggs and, of course, on our website, wiwibloggs.com. See you later. Bye.
Bye.